Grace and peace. This is Terrence Frederick, Chief Servant of the Watchman Society. Blessings to you all. I get the question from prophetic people periodically, novice prophets usually, but I get the question, why do prophetic people need training? If we're already prophetic, what's the purpose of having prophetic training? But the same answer can be applied to, why do humans need training? Why do humans need training in being human? You say, well, we don't need training in being human. Yes, we do. We get training on our nutrition. We get training on exercise. We get training concerning our psychology. We get training in philosophy. We get training in every area of life. We get training to help us be who we are. See, training doesn't make you something different than you are, but training helps you to fulfill what you already are. You may be prophetic, but you may be just operating off of instinct. And we need to operate off of more than just instinct. We need to also operate off of intelligence. And there are bodies of work. There's been bodies of material that's been accumulated over centuries and centuries of people who have studied in a sphere, who've studied in a particular area of expertise. And then they bring that expertise, they bring that body of wisdom, that knowledge, and they bring it to the collective conversation so that others can glean from it. Now, the idea of getting training, a prophetic person getting training to be prophetic, it's really training to learn how to operate and use what they already have. So if you are prophetic, you definitely need seer classes. You need classes to help you see accurately. Now, we already know we need training just in general concerning our character, so that our character would be intact, so that our value system is in line with the values of the kingdom, so that our worldview, our cosmology is in line with the kingdom perspective. So we know that. But beyond that, we need expertise training. We need specialized training in the area that we've been called to. And somebody might say, well, that's a given. That's a given. But when the training is made available, we always don't take advantage of it because we feel like we don't need it. But let me tell you something. No matter how deep you get, and I question how deep people are at times, but no matter how deep we think we are in the prophetic, in the apostolic, in spiritual warfare, in intercession, no matter how deep you get, there are always cracks. There are things that were missing in the foundation. Or if you are really moving in your calling, then there is wear and tear. There is something that comes along with this doing the work, where your emotions get rattled, where your soul is shaken just because of life and because of things that happen in life, and we need retooling. And plus, we're in a different dispensation than those that came before us, and so there are new. Now, the scripture says there's nothing new under the sun. And so though you have the same ancient principalities, powers, spiritual wickedness in high places, there are new technologies and new applications for demonic warfare with territorial spirits, and just warfare within the flesh because of our exposure to new things that people in the past were not exposed to. So we always need prophetic training to upgrade us, to upgrade not only our speech, but also to get us in alignment with what the Spirit of the Lord is doing, particularly for the age that we are in at the time. So we always need training. Training is not, getting training does not make you less than or lacking. There are so many different degrees and levels of insight. We'll be training as a part of the royal priesthood. We'll be training for all eternity, learning different dimensions of glory, different aspects of his fullness. And so training and education is an ongoing thing. Now, the scripture does say knowledge will cease, but that's talking about carnal knowledge. But our knowledge of the Most High will never cease. Our gaining knowledge of him will never cease. And our understanding of his infinite wisdom, our growth in that will never cease. So we're always approaching it. So we may brand it as prophetic training, but it could also be called scribal instruction, or it could be called apostolic wisdom, because there are different dimensions and aspects of it that we all need to grow. So we should value that. But one of the things I want to say before I leave, what we have to learn to do as teachers in the prophetic is we have to learn, and many of us do it, but for those who don't, we have to learn to go beyond just talking about prophecy. Because once somebody has learned what it is like to prophesy, how you prophesy, then it's kind of like, it's like making a college student sit in a first grader's class, and that's torture, right? So we have to learn how to combine knowledge that we have not learned with the prophetic that we know. We have to learn how to combine knowledge about astronomy and the prophetic. Notice I didn't say astrology, because that is the opposite. That's the counter of true wisdom. But we have to learn how to connect the planets and the stars to the prophetic. We have to learn how to connect business to the prophetic. We have to learn how to connect different spheres of wisdom, information, different realms to the prophetic. So the prophetic will attach to anything, to everything that is a thing. Because when we say prophetic, we're really talking about the total communication system, the total communications mechanism from heaven to earth, and also from earth to heaven. It is the way that spirit beings communicate. We communicate and express from our spirit, and we express things that are unseen, that are in our spirit, into a realm that is seen in the vision, in the mind of those who capture it. So the basis of our communication is rooted in prophetic understanding. Now we can get deeper into realms of who we're prophesying for, because you can prophesy out of your own heart, and then you can prophesy out of the spirit realm on behalf of the Father, or you can prophesy concerning the general knowledge that's in the heavens, or you can prophesy from a demonic spirit or some principality. So the fact that we can prophesy is like, we know it's a given. The question is, can we master learning to prophesy from the right spirit for the right occasion and with the right protocols? So these are reasons why we need learning and education, so we can build off that. Now, somebody might say, well, that's not my thing. No, that everybody should covet prophecy. Everybody, that's one of those sessions that everybody should cover in spiritual wisdom. It's like somebody saying, I'm smart, but I don't like language, or I'm smart, but I don't like math. I'm smart, but you may not like math, but it's going to be language, or it's going to be music. It's going to be one of those forms of expression that speaks concerning that which is universal. So you may not like all of them, but you're going to connect with either music, you're going to connect with language, with English or whatever the language is. You're going to connect with math. You're going to connect with tactile or some kind of motor skills, and you're going to connect with some form of universal language, even if it's not speaking, or even if it's not linguistics, or if it's not, literature. But the prophetic is not limited to literature. The prophetic can be understood in motor skills, in texture, in touching, in craftsmanship. The prophetic can be understood in numbers and can be understood in calculations, as long as we do it according to the pattern. The prophetic can be understood in vocal language, but it also can be understood in feeling, in vibrations. And so that's why we need prophetic training, so that we can learn how to connect with our primary dominant language of expressing the prophetic. See, each and every one of us has a primary form of expression that you express the prophetic through. You may have more than one. You won't have all of them. Some people are like, I'm not into prophecy because they're not into talking. They're into making things. But if I could teach you and show you that in your creating things, you are expressing the heart of God prophetically, then you won't say that you don't embrace the prophetic. Then you'll show up at the prophetic trainings and see how those teachings connect with your expression. That's why everybody needs to understand what it is. You might say, well, I'm not really into teaching and talking, but I love to sing. I love music. But you have to understand that because you love music and you're open to music, that as prophetic beings, we don't just give out, but we receive prophetically. So if we don't understand how to shut down things that we receive, sometimes we could be walking around embracing and carrying a prophecy that came from a demon, a doctrine of demon by virtue of songs, the songs of fools, the songs of Babylon, carrying out and manifesting prophecy because we are holding and containing prophetic words that were spoken, that were sung, that were rapped, and we didn't understand it. So that's why it's very important for us to really embrace prophetic education, because there are rules, guidelines. There's there are certain things that govern our activities. When we have prophetic knowledge, we can go in wisdom with that. So anyway, I'm talking too long. I just meant to come on here for about 5 minutes and I'm already over. So listen, find some prophetic training material, or check us out at the watchmansociety.com or terrencefrederick.com or Terrence Frederick Ministry page on Facebook, and follow me, and we're going to keep building. I want to make sure that you're built up and edified in prophetic wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and also in royal priesthood education. Listen, grace and peace. Love you. Shalom.